of Minnesota is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Welcome, Secretary Yellen. It's so good to see you again.
Thank you.
Very
Nice.
much appreciate the chance to be with you. So I'd like to ask a little bit about some of the broader economic issues that we see ahead of us and maybe respond a bit to some of the questions that Senator Kennedy was asking you. So as the Fed has raised interest rates, a lot of economists predicted, of course, that the economy we'd be well into a recession by now, but that hasn't happened. In fact, the economy has been defying expectations. And this is driven, it seems to me, by historically strong consumer spending also that have really been driving economic activity and growth. And I think, as you were attempting to point out, that since President Biden took office, wages have increased significantly for low and middle income earners. Do I have that right?
That is true.
Right. And I think that last year, nearly 60% of workers saw their wages outpace prices, surpassing pre-pandemic levels. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
So actually purchasing power, which is what matters, how much you can buy with the money that you have in your wallet, is up. Is that not true?
Yes, it is. It's up. I think the number I mentioned is the median worker could buy the same basket of goods as in 2019 and have $1,400 left over.
That's right. And I'm not an economist, though I did take macroeconomics in college. And when you have price deflation, that is usually, what that means, in fact, is that the economy is shrinking and people are actually much worse off in that circumstance,
Of course.
Right? That's right.
We've had a good, strong labor market and stellar growth.
Right. And of course, some would argue that the way that some prices have gone up, including food, for example, if you look at those price increases, and then I'm not asking you to comment on this, I'm just observing, you look at those price increases, and then you look at the massive increase in corporate profits, I would argue that seems to be the driver of prices going up more than some of the, more than the investments that the administration and Congress, Democrats in Congress, have made in the American people. But let me get to that, if I may. I'm interested to know what you think have been the impact of those big investments that Senator Kennedy was talking about that I'm really quite proud of, big investments that we've made in Americans in infrastructure and broadband, in improving veterans' health care, in lowering the cost of prescription drugs, and bringing manufacturing and chips manufacturing back to the United States, for example. So could you talk a bit about what impact that you think has had on the historic recovery in our economy?
So I think the legislation, there's really a trifecta of legislation Congress passed: the infrastructure bill, the Chips and Semiconductor Act, and also the Inflation Reduction Act. We're seeing an investment boom, and it's creating very good jobs for many Americans in parts of the country that just haven't seen a lot of opportunity in recent decades. And the work we're doing shows that a disproportionate amount, both of the infrastructure spending and the investments we're seeing that have been announced because of the IRA, are going to parts of the country where income is below average and infrastructure needs are greatest. So it's spurring job creation, and the benefits are being very widely shared.
And in fact, I think you referred to this in your opening testimony. If you look at the performance of the American economy compared to the performance of other economies around the world, we're doing much better.
Ours is the best.
And we also made significantly more of these sort of broad-based investments in the American people than other economies, other countries did, right?
Yes, we have. I think we've made very impressive investments. And if you just look at the Inflation Reduction Act, you see that it is sparking an enormous boom in clean energy across the spectrum, across the United States.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair.